For years, people knew exactly who to turn to. You were the dependable one, the one who carried it, and then the role ends. Who are you when the thing that defined you is no longer there? Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Lunch and Learn. My name is Michelle Scher. Last week, we looked at why a change that you chose can still drag, the body catching up to a decision that the mind already made. Today, it's something closer to home. We tend to treat transitions as practical events. So for me, leaving defence, or for others, retiring, children growing up and moving on. But what I've noticed is that the hard part is rarely what someone is moving towards. It's what they're moving away from. And often, it isn't simply a role that they're leaving. It's an identity built around responsibility. Over time, responsibility becomes more than something that you do. It becomes how you understand yourself. Spend years as the dependable one, the leader, the carer, and that role starts to shape your sense of self. Other people know you through that role. And eventually, you know yourself through it as well. The clearest example that I can give is military transition. Veterans will all describe missing the structure, the purpose, the camaraderie, and those things matter. But underneath sits something much deeper. Service answered fundamental questions. Where do I belong? What is my role? Who needs me? But when service ends, the questions don't end with it. I've seen the same beyond my experiences in defence. I've seen it in clinicians, in carers, in women who've spent decades being the one that everyone leans on. When the responsibility finally reduces, most expect relief. Sometimes it comes, but so does something else that they didn't expect. An unsettledness, because responsibility was never just a task. It had become part of who they are. And here's where people get it wrong. They feel unsettled and they assume that something must be off. They tell themselves they should feel lighter, grateful for fewer demands. Yet it makes complete sense. For years, their lives were organised around being needed. Their value was reinforced through usefulness. Then the framework changed. The role ended, the person, however, remains, and a new question arrives. Who am I beyond what I do for others? There's a biological dimension here too, not because the nervous system creates identity, but because the two shape each other over time. Orient towards responsibility for decades, and the body grows familiar with it. The readiness, that sense of something important, depends on you. When that external responsibility disappears, the internal expectation doesn't simply switch off, which is why putting responsibility down can feel so uncomfortable. Not because you want more pressure, not because you can't slow down, but because responsibility has been woven into how you understand yourself. Now, I don't think that means identity is lost. I think it means identity is between definitions. The old role no longer fits, the new one hasn't fully arrived, and the space between can feel surprisingly uncertain. Perhaps the least discussed part of transition is learning to separate who you are from what you carry, not solving it, just recognizing that there is a question there. So I'll leave you with what I've been sitting with. What did you become known for? And who are you when that's no longer needed? I'd love to hear your reflections in the comments, and I will be seeing you next week. Bye for now.